to Voodoo Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of Splinter Cell Conviction. Again, another pretty old game, and I guess the theme of the end of July is games that should have had sequels announced at E3. Okay, so let's get into the story. Once again, you play as Sam Fisher, and this is Sam Fisher when he's kind of gone rogue, kind of on the run. That's how it starts anyways. But not long after that, Grimsdottir gets in touch with him and basically pulls him back in, but he is very much off the books. He's no longer a part of Third Echelon. He no longer has the full support of the US government, even if it was secret support. And I'll say, the first time I played this, I really enjoyed the game because the story was very unique to the Splinter Cell series at the time. Sam was in a much darker place, even more so than the previous game, which left him in a very dark place. But this game, you get to see some of the scars from that. But let's move past that just a little bit because, he gets pulled back in because, another big national crisis, another big thing that he, and only he, can really deal with. And I enjoyed the twists and turns along the way of this game. I think this story is a very well told story. Honestly, I think it's one of the better ones in the franchise. As for the audio, one thing you have to say about this game is it was the last one done fully by Michael Ironside as the voice, and that is so important. His voice was so synonymous with Sam Fisher that it was just key to it. It was very important. I mean, Troy Baker did well later on, but it just wasn't quite the same. That being said, the audio overall is still fantastic in this game, and since it is a stealth game, audio is very important. And because you're missing a lot of the gadgets you used to have, audio becomes even more important. The Splinter Cell franchise is one of the few franchises where I will say audio is truly a key element to the game because of the fact that you need to be able to hear your enemies, and you can locate them by sound. Also, the background music is done well. I enjoy it. I like it. As for the gameplay, this was the first Splinter Cell where it really kind of diverged in the gameplay sense. I know some of the latter ones made the alarm less important or even made it so you could move a little more smoothly, but this was the first one where Sam Fisher felt like a predator. He felt like he was stalking and hunting his prey. Whereas all the previous games were very slow and methodical, and you can play this in a slower and more methodical way, it's still much more fast-paced than previous entries. Not only that, one thing that they added was the ability to shoot objects that were hanging from the ceiling to distract or harm enemies, as well as the mark and execute system. Unless I'm completely wrong, which is not impossible, this was the first game that had it. And what it is you take down somebody with your hands and you get the ability to mark enemies, hit a button, and Sam will shoot them so long as they're within his visual range. He'll just do it automatically. Which is really nice because it allows you to take out multiple enemies very quickly, and it allows you to keep moving. So it's just a good system. It fits with the gameplay. This game also diverges with the weapon stash, which allows you to pick your weapons mid-mission, etc. But the cool thing about the weapon stash is you can pick any of the guns you've picked up along the way. Which leads into another huge divergence in this game, is that you don't have to be sneaky. You can carry around completely unsuppressed weapons. They'll generally do more damage, but obviously they'll be louder, so you will gain a lot of attention, but you'll generally have weapons that are more powerful, so they'll be able to handle that better. This was the first game where you could be sneaky or just go balls to the wall, loud as hell, and try and waste everyone. As I mentioned, he's no longer with Third Echelon, so Sam does not have the same level of gear that he has had in previous games. When you start, you get some more gear as you go through, and eventually you get used to it, but it's definitely different than previous games. You cannot rely on technology as much, which I liked. It added a new element to the game. As for the controls, I think the controls worked well. I will admit that while they've aged fine, they're not quite as precise as I am used to. I never ran into any truly major problems with them, but they weren't quite as precise as I've become accustomed to. Lastly, the graphics. Honestly, I was surprised at how well this game has aged. It still looks, it looks Xbox 360, but it still looks pretty good. There's a surprising amount of detail in there that I guess I wouldn't have noticed before, but now that I'm playing it on a better HD screen, etc., have real HD, you start to notice some of those things, and I think that is exceptionally cool. Visuals have never been the most important thing to me. I mean, they can be horrible and that can be damaging to a game, but it's always nice to be able to go back and look at a game that you've played in the past and see that it visually has aged very well. Okay, so to wrap this up, I really enjoyed this game. This is honestly probably the first Splinter Cell that I truly loved. I've enjoyed previous ones, but this was the one that I was like, yes, Splinter Cell is awesome. Splinter Cell is truly amazing. Sam never seemed to control the way they described him, so that was always disappointing once upon a time, and this is the first game where Sam felt like what you thought he would be. That being said, the story and everything else worked very well. I enjoyed the game. You can download it now on your Xbox One. If you have an Xbox 360, you can do that too. Go find it, go play it, go enjoy it. I certainly did. Okay, so in the comments below, why don't you tell me if there were any franchises not announced at E3 that you were hoping to see a new game from? And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And if you like what I'm doing in general, share, subscribe. Have a good one.